day the sky burned. The day the aliens arrived began like any other. Morning sunlight poured over cities, touching glass towers and quiet neighborhoods alike. Children hurried to school. Trains thundered through underground tunnels. Farmers walked their fields. Across the planet, humanity moved forward, unaware that the universe had already chosen this day to test them. At first, the signs were subtle. Deep in orbit, satellites recorded strange distortions in space, ripples that bent light and scrambled signals. Scientists argued in conference rooms, their voices tight with disbelief. Probably a solar anomaly, one said. No, this is structured, another whispered. Something is coming. Then the sky changed. Across every continent, clouds parted unnaturally. A shadow spread where no cloud should exist. People looked up from sidewalks and highways, shielding their eyes. Above them hung shapes so vast they defied understanding. Titanic black vessels floating silently in the atmosphere, blotting out the sun like artificial eclipses. Phones vibrated with emergency alerts. Television screens flickered to breaking news. Radio stations dissolved into static. A single voice replaced the noise. It was not human. It carried no accent, no warmth, only cold precision. Species designation human. Your world has been claimed. Surrender is optimal. Resistance is inefficient. For 3 seconds, Earth was silent. Then panic erupted. Cars crashed. People ran screaming through streets. Churches filled. Governments scrambled. Military bases went to full alert, though no weapon on Earth had ever aimed at something so enormous. The first attack came without warning. Blue light fell from the sky like spears of fire. Entire airbases vanished in blinding flashes. Satellites were erased from orbit in seconds. Shockwaves rolled across cities, shattering windows miles away. Smoke climbed into the heavens like dark prayers. On every screen, humanity watched its defenses crumble. World leaders gathered in underground bunkers, pale and trembling. Some demanded immediate surrender. We cannot fight this, one said. They are gods. But others remained silent, staring at images of burning cities and falling aircraft. Then something unexpected happened. In the Pacific Ocean, far from the capital cities, a small squadron of outdated fighter jets rose into the sky. Their pilots had not received orders. Their radar was useless. Their chances were non-existent. Yet they flew anyway. The alien ship above them was colossal, its surface glowing with alien symbols. The pilots saw its size and felt fear claw at their chests, but they did not turn back. Missiles launched. The explosions barely scratched the hull. But one jet flew closer than the rest. Its pilot pushed forward, engines screaming, targeting a glowing seam along the alien vessel's side. The jet was struck by a beam of light and disintegrated midair, but its final missile struck home. For the first time, an alien ship screamed. A massive crack tore across its surface. Flames burst outward, and the ship began to fall, spiraling into the ocean in a pillar of fire. The world watched in stunned silence. Something could be hurt. In the alien command vessel high above Earth, sensors flashed red. This is not predicted, the commander hissed. They should flee. They attacked despite inferiority, an officer replied. Illogical behavior. The commander studied the recordings of the human pilots charging into certain death. Update classification, it said slowly. Species exhibits extreme emotional resistance. Back on Earth, the crashed alien ship burned on the ocean's surface like a dying star. News spread faster than fear. They can bleed. In ruined cities, survivors raised their heads. Soldiers who had retreated now regrouped. Firefighters worked through ash and debris. Doctors operated without power, guided by flashlights and determination. A message went out across every remaining channel on Earth. It was not from a president or a general. It came from an unknown voice, broadcast through hijacked frequencies. This is not the end, the voice said. We are afraid. Yes. But we are still here. And we will not kneel. Across the planet, people listened. A woman holding her injured child whispered the words back like a prayer. A soldier reloaded his weapon with shaking hands. A scientist stared at alien wreckage on a screen and began drawing new designs. In orbit, the alien fleet shifted position, forming new formations. Their commander sent a report to its empire. Humans resist beyond logical probability. They fight without calculation of survival. The sky burned that day. Cities fell. Millions were lost. But something else was born in the ashes. Fear did not break humanity. It sharpened it. And as the alien ships prepared their next wave of destruction, they did not yet understand the truth they had awakened. They had not invaded prey. They had challenged a species that would answer terror with fury. Fear became fury. Night fell on a broken world. Fires burned where cities once stood, turning the horizon into a ring of red light. Smoke climbed into the sky and mixed with alien shadows that still hovered above Earth. The first day of invasion had ended, but the war had only begun. Fear had ruled humanity for hours. Now, something else was rising. Across the globe, leaders who once stood divided sat together in underground chambers. Old rivalries meant nothing anymore. Borders became lines on maps with no meaning. "We fight together," one general said, his voice hoarse. "Or we die alone." Orders were sent, not of surrender, but of resistance. Military bases that survived the first strike opened their armories. Civilian factories were seized and repurposed. Car plants became tank workshops. Shipyards turned into fortresses. Airports transformed into launch fields for drones and missiles. Humanity moved with desperate speed. In small towns and giant cities alike, people volunteered. Farmers left their fields. Students left their classrooms. Mechanics traded tools for weapons. Doctors worked until their hands shook from exhaustion. The aliens watched from the sky, confused. Their sensors showed chaos, yet also coordination. They should collapse into disorder, an alien analyst reported. Instead, they reorganize. "This species is irrational," the commander replied. "Emotion drives them more than logic." And emotion was exactly what now fueled Earth. On the second day, humans struck back. Hundreds of missiles rose from hidden silos. Submarines launched from beneath dark oceans. Swarms of drones filled the sky like metal insects. Every weapon Earth possessed was hurled upward in defiance. The alien fleet responded with blinding light. Entire squadrons vanished. Oceans boiled. Forests burned. But not all human weapons failed. A massive alien carrier above Europe shuddered as explosions rippled across its surface. Its shields flickered. A human warship, already burning, rammed directly into it, carrying its crew into death with a final act of fury. The carrier broke apart in silence, falling in flaming pieces over the sea. For the first time, the aliens felt something new. Uncertainty. In alien command halls, fear spread like a virus. "They sacrificed themselves to destroy us," an officer said. "They do not retreat." "Why?" another asked. "Their survival chance is zero." The commander stared at the data. "They fight for reasons beyond calculation," it said. Family, territory, identity. On Earth, grief and rage mixed into a single emotion. Entire cities were lost. Families searched ruins for survivors. Yet from the wreckage rose resistance networks. Underground bunkers became command centers. Radio towers became weapons of hope. Engineers tore apart captured alien wreckage with bare hands and stolen tools. Blue light technology was studied day and night. Scientists who once worked on peaceful inventions now built instruments of war. Within weeks, new weapons emerged, hybrid machines born from human creativity and alien power. Jets flew faster. Missiles struck harder. Shields began to form around human cities. The aliens noticed. "They adapt," an analyst whispered. "Too quickly." In one ruined desert, the largest battle yet unfolded. The alien fleet descended in full force, intending to crush humanity's growing resistance. Human forces gathered beneath storm-dark skies. Tanks rolled forward. Aircraft roared overhead. Soldiers stood in lines knowing many would never return. When the first alien beams struck the ground, the humans charged. Explosions lit the battlefield. Human and alien machines collided in a storm of fire and sound. The earth shook beneath them. A single human soldier ran forward carrying a device built from alien wreckage. He reached the base of a towering alien walker and detonated it. The machine collapsed like a falling god. Word spread across the planet within minutes. They can fall. The alien commander transmitted a warning to its empire. Humans fight even when logic demands surrender. They accept death to deny us victory. This species is dangerous. On Earth, a message followed. Not from governments. Not from generals. From people. Broadcast across broken networks, the message echoed through ruins and shelters. We were afraid. Now we are furious. You came to take our world. We will make you pay for every step you take on it. In hospitals, wounded soldiers clenched their fists and tried to rise again. In factories, workers labored without sleep. In the sky, human pilots flew knowing the odds were impossible, and flew anyway. Fear had not vanished, but it had changed. It had become fire. And as alien ships regrouped above the clouds, they finally understood something they had never encountered before. This was not a species that could be conquered by terror. This was a species that turned terror into war. The species that would not break. The war did not end in days or weeks. It stretched into months of fire and steel. Earth no longer looked like the world it once had been. Continents bore scars visible from space, blackened cities, burning forests, shattered coastlines. Yet beneath the destruction, humanity still moved, still fought, still learned. The aliens had expected collapse. Instead, they found evolution. Human scientists worked in underground labs carved into mountains and subway tunnels. Around them lay pieces of alien technology, glowing metal, humming engines, weapons that bent light itself. Every fragment was studied, copied, and reshaped. Human hands turned enemy tools into shields. New aircraft rose from hidden hangars, their designs part human, part alien. They were faster than anything before them, stronger, deadlier. When they took to the skies, alien pilots hesitated. They now match our speed, an alien officer reported. Their weapons penetrate our armor. This is impossible, another whispered. They should not adapt so quickly. But humans had always adapted. To cold, to fire, to war. On the battlefield, fear had changed sides. Alien soldiers once marched with absolute confidence. Now they paused before descending to Earth's surface. They had seen human troops charge into beams of light. They had watched wounded pilots crash into enemy ships instead of retreating. They had learned a terrifying truth. Humans did not fight to survive. They fought to win. In one devastated city, surrounded by smoking ruins, a human battalion faced a towering alien fortress machine. The machine's weapons cut through concrete like paper. Buildings collapsed around them. Yet the humans advanced. Some fell. Others took their place. They climbed the wreckage of their own city and reached the base of the machine. Explosions erupted. The fortress groaned and fell, crashing into the ruins it had created. Alien observers recorded the battle. Classification updated. Species human. Threat level extreme. Psychological profile unbreakable under threat. With an alien command, doubt became panic. They refused to stop, an officer said. They refused to retreat. They convert loss into strength, another added. The commander stared at images of burning alien ships falling into Earth's oceans. We misjudged them, it said quietly. They are not prey. They are rivals. Then came the mission that would change the war. Human intelligence located the alien command ship, a massive structure hidden beyond the moon, controlling the invasion fleet. It was protected by shields stronger than anything Earth had ever faced. The plan was simple and suicidal. A small human fleet would attack directly, not to survive, but to destroy the heart of the invasion. Pilots volunteered knowing they would not return. Messages were sent to families. Goodbyes were spoken in whispers. Engines ignited in silence. They flew into darkness. Alien defenses opened fire. Ships exploded one by one. Yet the remaining vessels pushed forward, guided by coordinates burned into their minds. At the center of the alien command ship glowed its reactor, a star caged in metal. The human fleet reached it. The lead ship broadcast one final message back to Earth. For home. Then they rammed the reactor. Light consumed space. The alien command ship split apart in a wave of energy that shook the void itself. Debris rained across the stars like burning rain. On Earth, every alien ship froze for one terrible second. Then they began to fall. Without command, without control, the invasion fleet scattered. Some fled. Others crashed into oceans and deserts. Human forces surged forward, striking with renewed fury. In alien archives, a final report was recorded. Humans demonstrate limitless aggression when threatened. They weaponize loss. They turn fear into resolve. They cannot be subdued through terror. Across the galaxy, the story began to spread. Other civilizations heard of a small blue planet that had been attacked and had answered with destruction. They learned of pilots who chose death to protect their world, of soldiers who charged into fire, of a species that refused to bow even to the stars. On Earth, the skies cleared for the first time in months. The sun rose over broken cities and smoking fields. Survivors emerged from shelters and looked upward, unsure if the war was truly over. It was not, but something had changed. The aliens now understood the cost of continuing. They had awakened a force they could not control. And as their remaining fleets regrouped in distant space, one final thought echoed through their command channels. We did not break them. We forged them. The galaxy learned to fear humanity. The final battle came with no warning. Alien fleets returned to Earth in desperate formation, their once perfect order fractured and uneven. They no longer came as conquerors. They came as survivors trying to end a war that had already escaped their control. Earth was ready. For the first time in history, the planet fought as one. From every ocean, human warships rose together. From hidden mountain bases, hybrid aircraft streaked into the sky, leaving trails of fire. Satellites rebuilt from alien and human technology lit up the heavens like a web of light. A single signal was sent across Earth. All forces advance. The sky exploded into motion. Missiles tore through clouds. Energy beams carved lines of blue across the darkness. Human drones swarmed alien formations, breaking their shields with relentless waves. Explosions blossomed like stars being born and dying at once. On the ground, cities that had once been ruins became fortresses. Shields rose over hospitals and shelters. Soldiers fired upward with weapons forged from the wreckage of earlier battles. The aliens fought back with everything they had left. Oceans boiled. Mountains trembled. The air itself seemed to scream. But something was missing from their attack. Confidence. They had seen too much. They had watched humans grow stronger from defeat. They had seen their greatest ship destroyed by a suicidal charge. They had recorded human soldiers advancing while wounded, refusing evacuation. They had learned fear. In the center of the battlefield, Earth's combined fleet targeted the largest remaining alien carrier. It was the last symbol of invasion, its hull covered in ancient symbols of conquest. Human ships surrounded it from every side. A human commander spoke over the open channel, his voice steady and calm. This is our world. Leave or fall with it. The alien carrier hesitated. For the first time since the invasion began, the aliens answered with something other than threats. We withdraw. Their message finally came. This species is beyond acceptable loss. Their fleet turned away. Some ships tried to escape. Others were struck down in the chaos. The sky slowly cleared, revealing stars that had been hidden for months behind fire and smoke. The war was over. Earth stood broken but unbowed. In the days that followed, silence replaced explosions. Survivors walked through ruins, rebuilding with bare hands and borrowed hope. Memorials rose where cities had fallen. Names of the dead were carved into stone and into memory. Children learned the story not from books, but from the scars on the world. They learned of the day the sky burned, of the time fear became fury, of the species that would not break. Beyond Earth, the consequences echoed across the galaxy. Alien civilizations studied the records of the failed invasion. They saw footage of human pilots ramming enemy ships, of cities fighting back with handmade weapons, of a planet that turned invasion into defiance. A new law spread among the stars. Avoid Earth. They named it many things. The world of fury, the burning planet, the home of the unbreakable. Humanity was no longer invisible in the universe. It was known, and respected, and feared. When the first alien ambassadors finally arrived years later, they did not come with armies. They came with shields down and hands raised. They spoke of peace and trade, of understanding and caution. Humans listened. They did not forget. Earth rebuilt itself stronger than before. Cities rose with walls and light. Spaceports replaced ruins. Ships were built not just for defense, but for exploration. The stars that once brought terror now called with curiosity. A monument stood at the edge of a rebuilt capital city. It showed a human figure looking upward, one hand holding fire, the other reaching for the sky. Beneath it were engraved the words, "We were invaded. We did not kneel. We became." And in the quiet halls of alien history, the invasion of Earth was remembered as the moment the galaxy learned a lesson it would never forget. Do not mistake humanity's fear for weakness. Do not mistake their emotion for chaos. Do not mistake their kindness for surrender. They came to conquer a fragile world. They left knowing they had awakened a species that answers terror with fearless fury. And somewhere among the stars, whenever a fleet considers approaching a small blue planet, a warning echoes through alien command systems. This world fights back.